Welcome, everyone. We're going to really go end to end today and get a little hands-on, and we're probably going to have very little in the way of decks and a lot more of show and tell and getting your hands dirty on the technology. To be clear, we're talking about Git Ops, not just GitHub, but Git Ops as a framework. But let me share a couple things up front. I'm going to talk a little bit, a few concepts here up front so you can understand. So most people should be familiar with IBM Technology Zone, and Hollis will show you how to get there. But a little bit on me, I'm an IBM fellow, CTO and technical leader for a cloud and data platform adoption in our go-to-market teams under Beth Smith, CTO responsibilities over tech sales, as well as our CSM organization. CSMs are really focused around deployment and oftentimes pulls in our premier deployment partner, which is Expert Labs, which is this community here. And we have an asset and architecture team that helps kind of build out assets around certain things. And we want to train the field, both tech sales, CSMs, client technical engineering, which is the new name for the technology garage, CTLs, SEAs, expert labs, business partners, etc., right, are all play a role in driving deployments and adoption of our Cloud Pak technology, of our OpenShift platform. One of the things that we've invested in a lot this year is getting the field access to hands-on environments. So access to things like different hardware like Power and Z, access to cloud environments, access to VMs, access to clusters so that they can rehearse, practice, not do first of a kind. The ability to use these to templatize different types of environments in TechZone, from crowdsourced content all the way through curated hands-on at different levels, platinum, guaranteed to be latest version and working, and having a single place to go to get access to environments and hands-on assets for the field to be able to do everything from demos to starting out MVPs, etc. And one of the assets that we're going to really talk about is these production Git Ops playbooks. And we'll talk a little bit about that throughout this session. A couple other things. If you've been looking at Seismic, where we list our sales plays, there's this notion of technology decision points. These are the key architecture battles that we have with technical stakeholders at clients around the battles that we see we need to win out in the field with the hybrid cloud platform in the center, Red Hat OpenShift, with our Cloud Pak capabilities around that, data fabric, business automation, observability, security, Z and regulated cloud workloads. And so one of the things that we wanted to do, and we hear from the field, is if I sell Cloud Pak, have entitlement, have a point product, now I'm moving into OpenShift, how can I show the value of OpenShift to someone who's upgrading a point product? Right? Git Ops is a way to do that, and we're going to see that throughout. So more specifically, and then I'll go into TechZone and some of the assets in a minute. So first of all, for this event, we do have a Slack channel, Cloud Pak production guide users. We'll be referring to that throughout to ask questions, capture questions. But one of the things that we had some early engagements that included folks from Expert Labs, CSMs, Garage, and we found very quickly that there was a lot of guidance needed in the field for setting up production workloads. And so a client that has something like MQ installed or ODM or ACE or pick your favorite point product that's now a Cloud Pak, how do I set up automation from dev to production with OpenShift? How do I set up production environments? And so one of the things that we've set out to do in a collaboration, and this was co-sponsored with leaders in Expert Labs like Priya, how do we build end-to-end guidance for taking a component and deploying it and document it in a tutorial fashion, automate everything through Git Ops? We're going to go through what Git Ops is. Hollis and Carlos will go deeper in that. Provisioning end-to-end true dev and set up observability, etc. Document that, and then making that available through TechZone. Just a little bit more on Git Ops, right? Git Ops is really the notion that the configuration you store in Git becomes the source of truth for everything. And so that generally in a traditional CI/CD DevOps world, we think of Git being the source of truth for the application. But really, when you're driving cloud and OpenShift, there's a lot more artifacts, right? You might do POCs through a user interface, et cetera, but eventually people want to harden and automate environments. And so we have a 4-tier notion of automation that includes bootstrapping clusters and the cloud environments needed to support it. We have various permutations, Noel and Booty. I'm going to take you through a lot of the assets we have there, everything from managed to unmanaged. OpenShift, things like air-gapped installs versus non-air-gapped installs, 0 to Git Ops. Once a cluster is up and running, you have a minimal cluster. There's a bunch of infrastructure and cloud Git Ops that needs to be done. We leverage OpenShift Git Ops, which is based on Argo, things like creating secrets, namespaces, anything you need to do to configure the cluster. How do you automate those things? A lot of then our Cloud Pak capabilities sit in either middleware or shared tools or data tools. They're shared across different development projects, and they use the operator framework. Sometimes they use other things like Helm if you're using third-party tools. How do you provision those things with GitOps and have a shared services, and then configuration on top of that? Like if I'm MQ, I need to configure queue managers and queues and connections and things like that. And then I have applications, and that's another level of DevOps and GitOps that uses things like Tekton or Jenkins to build, but still uses things like Argo to configure the applications, whether it's Node, whether it's something like Kubeflow with data flows, right? All of these things are that. So we have an opinionated approach to doing this, and we think that by doing this for the Cloud Pak capabilities, it highlights the value of OpenShift, other Kubernetes providers, because we're showing things like OpenShift GitOps that comes out of the box and configured as an operator with that. And so a little bit of getting out of PowerPoint, that's probably the only. If you go to techzone.ibm.com, you'll see that just overall, you have platinum assets and things like activation kits. You can ask for all different types of environments. So I can kind of search for OpenShift, and you'll get various permutations, rocks, AWS, Azure. Today, the default pattern is if I have a client opportunity, I put it in there, but you can do self-practice, rehearse. We're working on future sandboxes for clients. That's work in progress. One of the platinum assets we have are these production deployment guides. You just saw this picture and kind of links out to some of the work we're doing. We're hosting these deployment guides out in the Bring Up Lab. So the Bring Up Lab is part of the development organization, and they're doing other things in there. We hosted it here because it's giving us a way to streamline product fixes and collaboration with the development org as we find things. But these guides, you get to have things like how you set up various flavors of OpenShift, then how you set up Cloud Pak components with the GitOps framework on top of that. We have these quick start demos. You're going to go through a lot of these. So if you want to start learning, you can actually go and request a GitOps cluster here, and Hollis will kind of take you through that. You're actually going to do that as part of this session. And once you do that, you can walk through these various quick starts, and they'll pick one for this. There's then deeper tutorials on how you set up these managed clusters, unmanaged clusters with various Terraform Ansible scripts, and then GitOps configuration with Argo. Lots of references and decision points. And this is a work in progress. Anyone can contribute, do pull requests, be part of the team. But the goal here is really to take you through end to end this journey, right? Which is, how you bootstrap clusters. And we'll show an example of one. And we've done a lot of work working with Red Hat and with the Cloud Pak team around air gap using case, combined registry. Hollis and Carlos will take you through these layers. And we have other folks like Booty, Hema, and others that will show you various use cases. We even have things around performance testing, and then Robert and team will talk a little bit about Instana and even provisioning things ready to be observed or built to manage. I believe these assets are very useful for kickstarting expert lab engagements as well. We were working with Deether and the SWAT team on the automation side, starting to adopt these assets as part of the install flow for the SWAT teams. And this is a good way to get them clients started, not just on installing and going away, but installing an environment that's Git Ops and DevOps ready for them to continuously update and be educated in OpenShift together with Cloud Paks, right? That's why we believe in this approach very strongly. And so with that, I want to thank you for being here. We encourage you to go out into TechZone and request clusters, look at the production deployment guides, and try these things out. We love your feedback. Nothing is perfect. Any thoughts for improvement, any ideas for improvement, any contributions, want to collaborate. This effort has folks from expert labs already involved. It also has CSMs, tech sales, technology garage, CTLs, and SCAs are all contributing to this work. So it's truly a field collaboration. And so with that, I'm going to hand it over to Hollis to get us started on the hands-on portion of this.